Hi, right, this video, this is where it all starts. This is where it gets exciting, all right? A wee while ago, a friend said, hey, let's do some off-roading. So we have DRZ 400s, XT660s, KLR 650s, all recognised off-road bikes, all thrashed within an inch of their life, left in muddy puddles, generally hooned around on, half of them stolen, all of them rubbish. There's also Aprilia Pegaso. Aprilia's an Italian company, quite a high-end Italian company. I always tarred the Italians with the same brush. Unreliable electrics and generally a bit out of control. But I used to work in an Aprilia dealership and was really impressed with the quality of what they were making. So yeah, I had to look at the Aprilia Pegaso. Now it turns out the Aprilia Pegaso is pretty good off-road. They've got half decent off-road credentials. They're a bit heavy, but fundamentally they're pretty good. And the joy is, the people who tend to own Aprilia Pegasos aren't the kind of people who leave them in muddy puddles and don't care for their bikes. So they tend to make great second-hand buys. Then I heard about one. It was a friend of a friend of a friend who had one in his garage, and it didn't run, and he only wanted pennies for it. And I mean, it's coming up to Christmas. I can't afford that. Everything's taken care of. But what can you do? What can you do when something like that falls in your lap? You know, if it had been, oh, he's got a DRZ 400, he's got an XT660, I'd have been like, oh, well, that's very nice, that's great, you know. But it was an Aprilia Pegaso. It was the bike which I'd already said, yeah, you know, that's the kind of thing which I'm after. So that's how I've ended up with this Aprilia Pegaso. Now, they're interesting bikes, they're interesting machines. It's a Rotax engine, so it's not Aprilia's own engine, made by an Austrian company called Rotax. You may know them as Bombardier. They make the bikes for the British Army. A well-respected engine builder. Aprilia, I believe, put their own 5-valve head on it to get a little bit more performance. It's got Mikuni carbs. It's got Brembo brakes. Don't know where the suspension's from, but yeah, you know, fundamentally, it's a little bit of a bitter. It's a little bit of a, you know, good quality stuff all thrown together. Yeah, I fundamentally I like it. And the more I've dug into it, it all kind of seems to make sense. All seems to be pretty good. Now that I've had the engine started, that's the fundamental milestone. That's a fundamental gateway, which means that this project is going to go ahead. So it might be worthwhile me going over the principles of building a project. My principles of building a project. First of all, everything has to work. All has to work. All has to function. Ideally better than standard. Ideally better than certainly better than it did before. It has to be lightweight and minimal. So where you can do, lose it. Where you can't, keep it really simple. Keep it absolutely minimal. And thirdly, a motorbike really should be a big engine with a wheel either end. So, going by those three principles, I need to get this functioning, need to get this working properly. There's a few basics which I need to sort out, boring basics which I need to sort out. I've got a rebuild kit for the carb, which I'm quite unhealthily excited about because it's full of shiny things. There's pitting on one of the front stanchions, so I need to rebuild the front forks. That can be a bit of a pig of a job because they're upside downies. So I need to figure out how they come apart. It's not. I've done it before, and I know it's a pig of a job. So, yeah. But also the valve clearances need to be done. That apparently is a stonking, filthy pig of a job. So I'm kind of avoiding that, which is why I'm doing a video at the moment about fun things. But yeah, this week I need to knuckle down and fire into that. Take the cams out, check the shims that are in there, order up new shims, put it back together. Simple in principle, but yeah, I'll let you know how that goes. The electrics on the bike are the other slight cause for concern. They've been chopped and changed. They've been messed about with before. It's not pretty the way it's been done. It's really not very nice, but it's all pretty strong. It all seems pretty robust. And so far everything works. There's a couple of odd cables which I can't figure out what they are or where they're from. These ones in particular, but I'm hoping that when the tank goes on, it's fairly obvious where they go. But yeah, we'll see. So then there's the rest of it. Then there's the fun bit. Then there's the interesting stuff, which is what this bike's going to be. Now, as I've stripped the bike down, as it's come apart, its fundamental structure has become more obvious. And yeah, you maybe can't see from that angle, but it's a thumping grey engine with a wheel either side, which kind of suits me. So you've got to think about the design of it, and you've got to think about the lines of it. And when I say lines, I mean literally lines. There are 3 lines that define the form of a motorbike. Sports bikes, chops, traileys, 3 fundamental different forms of bike, but they can all be described with three different lines, and it's the relationship and the harmony of those lines which really define how the bike looks and define its style. In this case, this is really exciting. This is really cool. I've never worked on a trailer before. I've never built a trailer before, but I've often looked at them and thought, I wonder what I could do. Wonder if I could do this. So this is actually this has the potential to do that, to be something. So I want to keep it simple. I want to keep it stripped back. I want to keep it as that thumping big engine between 2 wheels and keep it absolutely minimal. So no fairing. The fairing's not going to go back onto it. So no airbox. There's no airbox going into it. So this mudguard is going. No, nothing like this at the back of it. And once you do that, then yeah, you probably can't see from there because there's too much clutter. There's too many cables, but that'll leave it as a lovely stripped back, skeletal, simple thing. Starting at the front. I've taken off the front mudguard, and the plan is to fit a high-level mudguard sitting under. It'll be mounted underneath the yoke, and that'll push that front wheel right the way out, right the way down. Up at the nacelle, up at the cockpit, there's a round headlight which I've got, which is going to fit right in here. And these clocks, I've already removed the ignition switch. I've already unbolted the ignition switch. I'm going to relocate these clocks to allow the headlight to fit here. That'll keep all this tidy and neat. Yeah, maybe if I mount it there, clear away this horn, clear away everything, clear away everything underneath this. Yeah, is that a good place for it to be? Yeah, maybe. I'm not convinced. I'm just not convinced. There'll be a screen that goes on here just to provide some protection, and like I say, the wiring will be tidied up behind that. The tank is staying the same. There's no point, no need to change the tank. It's fine as it is. Often when you take the fairing off a bike, it leaves kind of rough, unfinished edges to the tank. It leaves kind of nasty angles and nasty shapes. In this case, the end of the tank finishes really quite nicely. I'll show you that in a minute. The headlamp's now held in place by a bungee. Hey, fantastic for just mocking things up, but this gives you an idea about the lines of the bike. Now, there's going to be a mudguard underneath there, so that kind of will decide where the headlamp needs to sit, because there's not a lot of space underneath there for the mudguard. In order to fit the mudguard, I need to be able to fit the radiator. In order to fit the radiator, I need to have sorted out the valve clearances. So there's kind of critical path there. I need to sort out the valve clearances, and then that will decide how the front end will all go together. Moving towards the back, the seat's on, and as you can see, it makes quite a nice curvy shape right the way from here, right the way back. Yeah, quite like that. I like the way that the rack at the back, it gives it a bit of a ducktail, gives it a bit of a point. But I really don't like this mass of hideousness back here. That's just not nice. However, that is all part of the rear light unit. So in order to sort out that, I need to get a rear mudguard for the back and just see how that's all going to work. Critical path is sorting out the valve clearances and getting hold of some mudguards. I'm going to head around to Jim Allen to Bathgate to get hold of some, just see what do you get universal mudguards? Do you get like universal trailing mudguards? Don't know. It's all new world to me. So let's go find that out. That'll be an interesting little trip anyway, because I know that's the place to go. So yeah, I've never been there before. This is all a new world to me. Right. Till next time, the adventure continues.